Okay, guys, this screen should be relatively easy to figure out. I'm going to explain. On the right-hand side, this is a setting screen, by the way. On the right-hand side, you have your tool change options. If you have, they have a tool post option. That would be your manual tool change. If you're just doing gang plate, you'd be using the gang tooling option. If you have turret and gang plate and or manual tooling, you would choose turret. You can use any of these options. You can use manual tooling, gang tooling, or turret tooling if you choose the turret option. On the spindle pulley, pretty self-explanatory. If you're using the 5C, you're using the high speed, using the 4-jaw chuck, or the chuck rather, it's low speed. I believe 3,000 versus 2,500. I can't remember what the actual maximum and minimum speeds are there. Here's for the collet closer, whether you're doing OD clamping or ID clamping. That's for only if you're using their collet closer. I'm not. This is their new collet closer, rather. I'm not using that. Let's see here. These are pretty self-explanatory. Okay, so this one, this is new. Some of this is new, but this is one of the new things. I haven't looked at it, but there's like a little board that I believe lets you control with G-code up to 3 or 4 outside devices, which would come in really handy if you're, I don't know, wanting to control any outside device, potentially lights to let you know when the machine's done, turning on and off cameras, devices, whatever. Okay, so the G30 move and Z only, if you have that checked when you go for a tool change, it'll only back away in the Z and won't go up in the X-axis. Now, I use that option almost exclusively because it didn't, until this version, and the previous version I had, it wouldn't save the X position. So when you set your, down here, when you set your G30, it would only save the Z position. So it would back up to the Z and then would go up in the X as far as it would go, hit, you know, to basically the soft limits, which is just away from the limit switch. So I never used it because it took way longer than you need to, and so I just back up. I'd rather just back way away than do that. Well, in testing before creating this video, I wanted to test and see if that was fixed, and I'm amazed it is. So now when you hit set G30, it takes your X and Z location, saves those, and when you go to your G30, it will back up on the Z location first and then on the X location, and it'll actually accept where you want it to go instead of going all the way off to the soft limits. So good on Tormach for that. Network name, this is how I get to my Tormach over the network. Yeah, I can't really show it right now, but I can browse all the files and such from there. Okay, this conversational feeds and speeds thing, this is new. When you uncheck it, it basically just disables it. Well, it just grays it out, disabling it on the conversational screen. It doesn't remove it, freeing up real estate or anything. It just grays it out. So now in here, if you look, you can tell, okay, so look at G0, you can see from G0 down here that we are in that mode, and that's why it's lit up. Also G20, you can see here, so you can quickly check in the status, and if you don't know what one of these things are, you can look at it here. So it gives you some G codes that you can use on the MDI line as well, and shows you what is currently active. So going back to the first video, I believe it was on the MDI line, I failed to mention there's admin commands you can use. And that's another option that you can use. That's another thing you use the MDI lines for.